Hello. I want to say I just sense to talk a little bit about um, what we're what's emerging on the planet right here, right now. Um, so, from a perspective of someone who lives in Australia, that's the easiest perspective for me to come from. But we have the inauguration of President Trump. And I watch the news, which is something I never do. Um, but I was with friends last night and, we watched the news and I don't know, I found it repetitive, biased, and also it was very, very fake. You could just see that, no one, because it's, TV news, no one was gutsy enough to really say what they were thinking. And there was even, clips of our politicians, and they're all saying the right thing so as not to... You can just tell. It was just fake, putting on a face, that political face to try and, keep... What's the word? I don't know, to keep some sort of a tactical safety balance between the two countries, because you can see the reality that this could be really bad. Like the things that have been threatened by this world leader, which is basically anyone who opposes him, and you look, and this is what Putin has done too, anyone who opposes them, they're just going to try and destroy. So, and then, pointing the finger, scapegoating and all of that, against immigrants and wanting to destroy the people who challenged him in the past. There's a lot of people who are sort of very blind also, but I think there's a lot of us, I just get this feeling that, particularly in the Western world, the world where we've got, we have these democratic nations, that all of a sudden everyone's sort of waking up and going, right, is this going to be another nightmare? What's going to happen here? And yeah, it's kind of like, I know I'm sort of in a faraway place in Australia, but yeah, we're affected here too. And this can impact everywhere and anywhere. So I'm not a political person, so I'm not going to go into all of the, what ifs and all that sort of stuff. But I am a spiritual person, and so, and it's pretty much mostly spiritual people who'll be listening to my videos. And so, I'm just going to talk about the approach that I'm using, which is to just really go into the stillness and find balance throughout all of this, because there's going to be a lot of turbulence, it's going to have an impact financially, economically on us. It's in many, many ways that it's very obvious that things will get affected, but we can hold a balance for this, because, like, remember when COVID happened, and initially, everything went very quiet and still, and it was quite peaceful. But then, everyone was like, oh my God, we got this terrible illness. And, there was just a whole bunch of freaking out. And it was kind of like, just calm down. It's okay. Like, it'll be okay. But, the hysteria was, really intense. And so it's the same sort of thing that a lot of people could, go into, the fear based mindset and really freak out. So, are we going to freak out too, or are we going to do what to demonstrate that we can be unmoved by this. And, you know, for me, I'm very consciously and closely working with Gautama Buddha. And I'm just seeing myself as, you know, like this Buddha just sitting cross-legged and being still, and I will remain unmoved by this, you know, just to stay totally centered and unmoved, you know, and the waves are crashing around, but to go into this lovely place of stillness. And observe. And know when, you know, really tune into when it's a time to say something and when it's a time to pull away from, you know, that test to be pulled into like some sort of dualistic argument or trying to challenge people or prove people wrong, like change their minds. I think really just, you know, work on coming into that space of oneness and stillness with the Christ mind, with the Buddhic mind, and the answers will be found there, you know. Not even what I'm saying, like, you know, I don't have, it doesn't matter what anyone says, you know, no one actually has the answers. It's only, you know, in that still space that each one of us can find in the Buddha, in the Christ mind, where we find that answer. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents for now. I just let the waves crash and go into that stillness, and there is a flow there. There is a flow there that will set your course, that sets the course, the only steadying course that you can possibly take when there's all sorts of turbulence around. I've been thinking of, the metaphor of the waves as well. The Ascended Masters, Archangel Gabriel, talked about, you know, this Christ wave coming along, and, you know, and all the masters talked about it. And then I read a beautiful story a friend wrote about surfing and the waves. I'm a body surfer. So, you know, body surfers don't use any board. And you know, sometimes you just get these monster waves, like, you know, they're heading towards you, like before you've got out to the other side where you can actually catch the waves. And you know, you just need to dive down deep under the wave, and, you know, it just sort of crashes over the top of you. But before you know, they pass. That wave goes in that direction. And when you go down, you know, beneath it, it's just where the stillness is. There's no turbulence, like right down close to the sand, and you can move out safely to the other side. Open your eyes, have a look, reassess, see what else is coming, duck down under that wave. And generally those waves, you know, come in maybe threes, and then it eases off, and you know, you can have a breather. But then you get out to where the waves aren't crashing on top of you, and you can just be still there and just contemplate. It's very meditative, you know, like when you look at surfers sitting on their boards, and they're just still and contemplating, and just you know, waiting and being in one with the waves around them. And then, you know, you just wait and you see, and you wait until that wave has come along. And it requires, you know, when you're body surfing, it doesn't require very much effort at all to catch a wave. If you've got to use a lot of effort, then you're not doing it right. It just requires this reading that that's the wave for you, and then just, you know, just timing, this divine timing, and go with it, and it carries you. So when we go into that stillness, you know, that still point, and we can feel the impulse of the wave that comes from the Christ, from the Buddha. And that's what carries us. And there's no thought, there's no preconception. We just ride that wave.